want to spend a lot of time waiting so that we can get to it and we can be timely. Because I know some of you take your time out of the evenings on Sundays to watch this. I want to be mindful of your time, but also want to give you something that I think is that you can take and apply to your life. But we're going to use the Bible, of course, as a base tonight. We won't probably get to scripture for a little bit. We're just going to talk about life and what it means to be romantically bipolar. Love on the Brain, I got this title simply because I think one of the songs that fits this perfectly is a song by Rihanna called Love on the Brain. And to start tonight, I just want to read some of those lyrics so we can have a foundation of what we're going to talk about tonight. So here's a couple of the lyrics. Some of you may know this by heart. Some of you may not even know the song. Some of you may know it. You just don't know the lyrics by heart. I know the song. I actually like the song. I do not know the lyrics by heart, so I'm going to read them to you. It says, you love it or you love when I fall apart so you can put me together and throw me against the wall. Baby, I'm fist fighting with fire just to get close to you. Must be love on the brain that's got me feeling this way. It beats me black and blue, but it loves me so good and I can't get enough. Hear this. It keeps crushing my name no matter what I do. I'm no good without you when I can't get enough. Here's a few more lyrics from another song that reminds me of being romantically bipolar, and that is the song Hot and Cold by Katy Perry. And here's just a couple of her lyrics in her song where she says, you change your mind like a girl changes clothes. 'Cause you're hot, then you're cold, you're yes, then you're no, you're in, you're out, you're up, you're down. You're wrong when it's right. It's black and it's white. We fight and break up. We kiss and make up. You don't really want to stay. No, but you really don't want to go. Someone called the doctor. Got a case of love bipolar. Stuck on a roller coaster. Can't get off this ride. These are a whole lot in those lyrics alone to what we're going to talk about tonight. Being romantically bipolar, if you want to define it, is actually being romantically undecisive or romantically undecided. Romantically undecisive and being romantically undecided. It means you don't know what you want to do. One day you want to be in a relationship and be committed to somebody, and then the next day you want to be single and you don't want to have nothing to do with anybody. That's what it is. You want to be married. You dream of being with that lover, that friend that you always saw yourself with, and then in the next moment, the next day, the next week, that changes drastically. So oftentimes somebody that's romantically bipolar is someone, I can almost guarantee you, who is a person that doesn't really know what they want. And this, of course, goes beyond just relationships and being romantic with somebody. More times than none, a person that is romantically undecided is somebody who is undecided in life choices. Somebody who's undecided in what they want to do with their life, what degree they want to follow, what path they want to take. So being undecided romantically is just one, or just really the surface of an interrooted issue. Some of you don't know what you want in life. Some of your sexuality is confused. Some of you don't know if you want to be with a male one day and a female another day. Some of you not sure if you want either. Some of you are not sure if you want just one. So it's such a big deal. But when we talk about relationships, I think that who you choose to be with romantically, which I hope in God's plan that person you end up being married to, is the most important decision that you'll ever make outside of Jesus. So that's the reason we're going to talk about being undecided in the context of romance. Because romance Not every 99 point, I'll give it 7% of people in this world are not called to be eunuchs, are not called to be nuns, are not called to be priests. And what I mean by that is most people are not called to live a life of being a virgin or being sexually abstinent. You have to understand, we live in a very sex-driven culture. We live in a sex-driven world. And to top it all off, we're sexual creatures. God created us as sexual beings. We're surrounded by sex. We're surrounded by sex on the television, music videos, TV, television shows. There used to be a day and age when I was growing up that when there was a sex scene on TV, that they would either block it off or the movie would not have them go as far, but you knew what went down. Same thing a lot with the music artists in that day. Jodeci, Boys to Men. They had sexual songs, but it really wasn't as raunchy as a Pretty Ricky. It really wasn't raunchy as a lot of the artists now. R. Kelly did it well. You remind me of my Jeep. He gave you imagery. And unfortunately, we live in a world today where they don't want to make you imagine anything. They just want you to know exactly what it is, how it is, regardless of how it sounds. It's hard for us to avoid sex. And I think for the church, for pastors, for Christians, for ministers, to avoid talking about sex on Sunday and even Wednesday, you cannot improve the lives of your people. You just can't, because many of us are sexually rogue. We just do whatever we feel. And you have to understand that sometimes what you feel is not always what God's will is. So, meaning you might be out here being promiscuous. You might be around here sleeping with everybody. That's not God's will for your life. You may say, well, Pastor, I just can't have one woman, or Pastor, I just can't have one man. That's because your view of romance and sexuality has been perverted by the world's culture. In culture, we're taught and we learn and we celebrate people that have multiple partners, especially in the guy culture. You know, I done hit this many females. I done ran trains. I dated her, and we take pride in being sexually promiscuous, and that was never God's intent. God's intent was for you to be with one person all your life. Now, some of you may be saying, that's very hard, Pastor, because first off, I've been with more than one person, and how can I honestly stay with one person the rest of my life? That's just not fair. Well, one of the reasons in all reality that it's hard for you to stay with one person is because you didn't do it God's way to begin with. If all you've ever known was or has been one person, it's not hard at all. But when you start tying your souls to a multiplicity of different people, of course it's going to be hard, because you have all of these souls that you slept with inside of you and all the people they've slept with. And it's an ongoing cycle. Some of y'all got hundreds of bodies, thousands of bodies, because of the people y'all done slept with. You may not have that physically, but soulishly you do. But it's hard. And God created us. I want you to understand, first off, when it comes to being sexual, because you have to understand romance and sexuality, they're two sides of the same coin. They're two different sides of the same coin. Most likely romantic relationships lead to intimacy. Most likely intimacy leads to sex. That's not the only way to be intimate, but it is a very user-friendly way of being intimate. So I talk about that a lot because I know it's an issue in our lives. Don't sit up here in front of the video as if you don't like sex, you don't want sex, and you've never had sex. For the virgins on here watching, I commend you. Watch this, because you still need help in your romantic life. So this is not a conversation about sex, because that would be titled that. This is a conversation about love and romance, but I have to set the groundwork, and I have to talk about sex because that's what romance is going to lead to. But anyways, God's law, God's rules is to have sex with one person the rest of your life. And if you're a man, that is to be with a woman heterosexually, and if you're a woman, that is to be with a man. Anything outside of that is not God's plan. It's not God's will. It's sin. So that means not just perverted stuff as we think of as maybe incest or bestiality, but fornication, adultery. Fornication is pretty much having sex before marriage. That's not God's plan. Adultery is being married and sleeping with somebody else, cheating, having a side piece. That's adultery. That's not God's plan either. So you have to understand that before we get started, because many of you are romantically unsure or undecided because you have not followed God's plan. All right. So with that being said, it's hard not to be when God created us to be sexual beings. All right. We're sensual, we're sexual, and we're saved. For those of you that love Jesus. So let's continue. So to be romantically bipolar is that you are most of the time a romantic person. You desire romance. You desire candlelight dinners. You desire strolls along the beach. Don't sit up here in front as if you are just hard and you just want it straight to the point. Nah, y'all, some of y'all women, please get out of this mindset of this feministic agenda in the world that women have to be hard. No, God did not create you to be a man. God created you to be a woman, to be soft, to be gentle, to be fragile, not to be weak, but to be gentle. And it's all right to want Prince Charming. That doesn't mean live in a fairy tale, but it is completely all right to want to be with somebody who treats you well. Someone who pays for the dinner and movie. Someone who picks you up and opens the door. Someone who likes to kiss you on the cheek or on the forehead. You don't have to make out all the time. I mean, let's just be real. We want that. And quiet as kept women, you may think that there are no guys out there that like that stuff. There are. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I was raised by a single mother. And my mother, you know, she raised me to be a man to take pride in that myself. That doesn't mean I'm soft or weak either. That doesn't mean a man is soft or weak because he wants to take you out in the town and he wants to show you a good time. That actually means that he's being a man because he is willing to take care of you. So, so with that being said, being romantically bipolar is that you are deeply romantic, but on the other side, you are deeply skeptical. So, in one instance, you want to be romantic, but in another instance, you have the doubts. I'm not sure if I really want to commit myself. I'm not sure if I really want to be in a relationship with somebody. And there could be a couple different reasons why you feel that way. You desire love, commitment, relationships, dating, marriage, but yet you have so many doubts because maybe you had a failed relationship. So the reason that you have doubts is because a relationship that you had failed. Something didn't work out. You really fell for a guy, or you really was digging this female and they played you. So you're skeptic because you want it. It's just that you're afraid that you can't find the right person. And then on the other end, some of you are relationally skeptical because your views of romance have been perverted because maybe as a child you were molested. Maybe somebody fondled you. Maybe somebody touched you inappropriately. So that now makes you doubt now because now you take on that every person that you date is somebody that is a victimizer, somebody that's looking to hurt you. And that's not the case either. So every person you meet, you set a ridiculously high standard because of your previous failed relationships or your perverted relationships. So you set this high standard that if I'm going to date somebody, you have a whole book of what they must meet. And the moment they don't meet it, you're ready to call the quits. I'm not saying not to have standards, but what I'm saying is you have allowed your past to shape your present and your future. What happened to you back then, young lady, young man, will not happen to you again if you allow it, if you don't allow it. I'm sorry. So you have to understand what you want, but you also have to be realistic in your expectations. I think honestly, and I'm taking this slow tonight because I want to make sure you hear me. Some people have relationship PTSD. Some of you have post-traumatic stress because of what has happened to you. Like I said, it could have been molestation. It could have been somebody inappropriate relationship as a child. Matter, it could be abusive relationship. Maybe you were in a relationship with a man that beat on you. That maybe a woman that emotionally or verbally abused you. So some of you have a sin of that post-traumatic stress. You just can't deal. And what happens is, it's crazy how some of us don't understand how romantically bipolar we are until we get into a relationship with somebody that we care about. And what I mean by that is that this is some telltale signs as if you're romantically bipolar. You and somebody that you're romantically involved with text almost every fleeting second of the day, back and forth at work, at home, at the kids' recitals. You love this person. You really digging this person. Especially when some of y'all, when y'all first meet somebody, it's fire. I mean, it's so much passion, so much feelings. You don't want to go say without y'all fall asleep on the phone. Y'all know. Yeah. I mean, I did it as grown with my wife. I mean, I thought that was just a kid thing. Nah, I was a grown man sleeping with my wife still on the phone. Me and her falling asleep, waking up at 5 a.m. Oh, you still there? Yeah, I'm still there. We both fell asleep. That's love. That's the butterflies. That's the feeling. But the thing with romantically bipolar people is that you'll be that way one day, and in a split second, you don't want to text that person at all. And now the person has mixed feelings because they're like, dang, for the last month, we've been texting every day, and all of a sudden, you stopped texting me. And it may not be because you don't like the person no more or don't want to date them. You just have your doubts. Is there some comments or questions we have any? Nah. If she puts it on, just let me know. I didn't get to see it. And then some of you can sleep with somebody in one instance. Pull it back up for me. I'm sorry, I missed it. You can sleep with somebody in one instance, and some people like to cuddle. Romantic people. And you may like that yourself, but because of your skepticism, you push the person right out of bed. Nah, you ain't staying here tonight. You're going to have to move around. Some of y'all just so cold. But you're romantically bipolar, and it's okay. This is not some type of disease. It's just some of us have we've had different experiences, so it has caused us to be that way. But that's another telltale sign. You can just sexually be involved with somebody and then don't want them to stay afterwards. What type of romance is that? That's not romance. That's passion. That means you're romantically bipolar. As I tell him, it's so true. Fall asleep. He used to call me on my cell. Late night when I need it. I've got the lyrics wrong. Y'all already know. That's why I need to read lyrics sometimes, because I be thinking I be knowing them and I be saying the wrong lyrics or just mumbling. You remember Bad Boys with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith were singing, Bad Boys, what you gonna do? And then Martin Lawrence went into the verse and he was like, tick it. I don't know the lyrics either, so. Next. You cannot blame this on the gender thing, because most of us will say, well, that's a guy thing to be so cold, that just to hit the wham bam and leave. No. Females do it too. May not have did it 20 to 30 years ago, but these females do it now too. So you cannot just blame it on guys being cold and just wanting your body and just using you for the sex. No, women do it too. It's not just a gender. There are some women out here that are just as cold as men and will dog you out worse than some men. So it's not a gender thing, being romantically bipolar. It happens on both sides. And what happens most of the time when you're romantically bipolar, your relationships usually do well at the beginning and then they fizzle out and don't do well after a period of time. because either you get bored or you begin to know more about the person and you begin to have more doubts. So that's perfectly normal. I'm gonna hopefully by the end of this video give you some things to put you in the right direction on being delivered or being healed from being romantically bipolar, because it's like mental bipolarness. Some of you are romantically bipolar and it's literally causing you so much pain, so much loneliness, and being single. Some of y'all can't find your Boaz or your Ruth or whoever you want to call it because of this condition that you got. Yes, I'm calling it a condition. This is not a official medical condition. This is a spiritual condition that I want to help remedy today in your life. Let me give you a scripture, and I want you to turn there on your phones or just listen up because I'm gonna read it in just a moment. But before I read it, I'm gonna give you the scripture in just a moment. Before I read it, I do want to say something. Scripture is Proverbs 4, verse. Didn't get the verse right, but it's between verses 5 through 9. I believe it might be 7 or 8. But Proverbs 4, if you want to write that down. 5 through 9 is really good, but I'm only going to read one of those verses. But let's talk about, for just a second, this friends with benefits. This, I want to say, is an epidemic in the relationship world today. Friends with benefits, FWB. Now, some of you may use friends with benefits as a friend that is like a family member, a friend that has the benefits of a blood relation. But most of the time when we talk about this romantically, a friend with benefit is somebody that is your friend that you're sleeping with. Let me tell you this now. Stop that. That is going to increase the romantic bipolarness either in you or the person that you're involved with. This ruins friendships because there's no understanding. Either be friends with somebody or be in a relationship with them. You cannot have friends with benefits and expect that relationship to be healthy, because somebody's going to catch feelings and it's going to ruin a friendship. That's a no-no, okay? So here's a scripture to help combat that for you if you're wanting to know what God says about that. The verse that I want to read says, "Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all of thy getting, get understanding." I just delivered somebody's relationship right now. I just saved somebody's marriage. I just saved somebody's romantic life. If you apply this scripture in anything that you do, make sure you have an understanding. Let us come to the table and let us reason. Let me understand you. Before I jump to the gun, before I jump to conclusions, let me try to understand you. My wife probably don't want me to use the example. Well, it's really not bad on her part. It's bad on my part. But I'm going to use it because I think this is going to help drive the point for some of you. When I met my wife, I thought I was healed of my previous marriage and relationship. This relationship ended in infidelity on the other person's part, and I was hurt by it. So you already automatically know I was like Drake. I had trust issues. Major trust issues. Any of you, if you know my wife is probably the most loyalest female that I know on this side of the planet Earth. But she was the most loyal person, but yet I still had trust issues because I let my past slip into this relationship. And what happened was I'm not saying to say that we didn't get an understanding. We didn't say that. I talked to her about it on phone conversation when we went out to date, what happened to me, and I do still feel some type of way. So she knew. But when I would have my little blow-ups or my trip-outs, we'll use an example, her bachelorette party before we got married. I'm not crazy like that, y'all. But I had to watch the girls, the kids. So I was going to plan to take them to the zoo, and this was in Texas. And her and her girlfriends were at this hotel, rooftop, pool on the rooftop and all this stuff. They was enjoying it, kicking it. I never forget she posted a picture on Instagram with a little cleavage out. It really wouldn't, in all reality, that much. I mean, if you're endowed, you're endowed. I mean, you can try to cover it up, but it is what it is. But because I'm feeling some type of way and I had trust issues, I seen that little cleavage on Instagram and was, I'm not going to say the word that starts with the P. I was upset. And I'm not tripping because, once again, I had grown up to the point where, I mean, I kind of did a little fuss about it. I see you got your boobs all out and stuff. You know how y'all guys be acting. I see you out there. You know what you do. That's all I did. Didn't do nothing crazy. But I had such a trust issue. And my wife was good with this because she was constantly calling me. She wasn't calling me every minute because she was having fun. But every so often she would call me just to let me know what she was doing. She would FaceTime me when the other girls in the room weren't getting dressed and stuff like that. Just to let me know, look, I ain't doing nothing. Now, she understood. I'm not going to, I'll complete the story because some of you probably want to hear the story. So what I did, I ended up, well, I didn't know how to, I still don't to this day know how to do my daughter's hair. I don't know how to put nothing in a ponytail. I don't know how to do none of that. Only thing I just learned how to do, I'm going to be honest with you, is when their hair is already in a ponytail, to take a water bottle and spray water and brush it up. But that's not long. In a hot day in Texas in the sun, you need something more than just a water and a brush up. Let's just be real. So I just said, I know you're chilling, but before I go to the zoo, can I bring the girls? Once again, we're living in Fort Worth, and she's all the way in Dallas. So I take the trip to have her do the girls' hair at the hotel while she's still at her bachelorette party. Just blocking, you know what I'm saying? Like, long story short, it went fine. But throughout the next year of our relationship, we still had some trying times when it came to my trust. Now, gladly say I'm not worried. She can leave the house for a week, y'all. Well, not a week, I'm going to be honest with you. But I'm just not tripping like that. But let me tell you the point of what I'm saying. I'm saying that if she could have easily allowed that to hinder her relationship with somebody, or her husband now, of course, she could have easily called it off. Like, I can't do this. This man is crazy. He's still not over his wife. I was over. I just had trust issues. But she understood that. And because she had understanding, she was patient enough until I got it together. In all thy getting, get an understanding. Because she got an understanding, she was able to be patient enough. And now, there's no worries. None at all. Even today, I didn't get to go to church service with her. I sent her to church. I didn't even need to go with her. I was cool. 4 years ago, couldn't say the same. I'm going with you. I don't know. I ain't staying here. So thank you for your patience. She's filming me. I just had to thank her on public record. She knows. But understanding. So just got a few more points that we're going to move to solution. You all. Being romantically bipolar sends mixed signals to your partner and causes confusion in the relationship. It can at times be emotionally abusive and send people into depression and sadness. Being romantically bipolar with somebody, you got your partner walking on eggshells. You got your spouse don't know what to do. They stressed out. They're being abused because you get mad and going off on them. 1 minute you texting them saying you love them. The next minute you saying I can't stand you. Leave me alone. That does not only hurt you, but it hurts the person that's involved with you, because now they are now becoming unsure because did I do something wrong? Did I not do enough? Or am I not good enough? Now you could say, well, people, they should be confident enough in themselves. No, when you really care about somebody, you're going to look in yourself and see what I can do to change to be the best I can be for this person. That's how I really know somebody loves somebody. The person's not changing you, but because you want to be with the person, you're willing to look at yourself and better yourself to be with the person. But this can also have a negative effect, because now it can have you looking negatively at yourself. Am I not beautiful enough? She was all over me. My wife was all over me 2 years ago. Now she doesn't want to touch me with a broom. Is it because of me? Am I too fat now? Or it's none of that. It's none of that. But once again, if your partner is struggling with this, it can cause abuse on you as well. I'll say this, and we'll move on. No, let's move on. Let me give you, in my opinion, in my observation, some of the causes for romantic bipolar. Being romantically bipolar. Number one, psychological issues. Some of you have these behaviors in a relationship because mentally you are messed up. Not clinically, we'll get to that in just a moment, but you're messed up mentally. You have some mental issues. Your behavior in a relationship is rooted in your mind. And if you're not careful, please hear this. If you don't seek to bring wholeness to your mind, to bring health to your mind, then you will become a manipulative Jezebel. Guys, you can be Jezebels too. If you don't check your psychological issues and your mental, your mind, and you're not whole in your mind, you will begin to think things that are not. The moment you on a date with a person you love and they get a ping, it's their mama, but is that a female? I'm done with you. We on a date and you getting texts from other females. What? It's my mama. Look, it says mom on the phone. Look. That's mental. Some of y'all gotta get healing in your mind because that old dude that you was with, that old female, she played those games and put other guys' names in on your phone, on her phone, to make you think as if it was a female friend when it was really a male. That ain't the person that you with. And to prove it wrong, at least. So stop tripping. Believe me, what's in the dark is gonna come to the light. Stop searching. If you going to look for something, you better hope you don't find it, because some people you'll find it on. Let it speak for itself. It's going to come to light. But get your mind right. You're going to be manipulative now. Because you've been hurt, you'll now start hurting other people. Because somebody hurt you that you cared about, now you'll start being manipulative. You'll start playing guys just to get things that you want. You'll start playing females just to get some. You'll do all that talking. Oh, girl, I love you. I want to be with you. Sleep with her and you're done. That's manipulation. Being manipulative. It's being a Jezebel. Selfish for your selfish gain. You'll do whatever it takes. And that's what a lot of y'all do. Y'all out there on a limb because y'all psychologically messed up romantically. So you're out there playing games with people, hurting hearts, breaking hearts, because you yourself have not healed your heart itself. All right? The next issue is not psychological for some people. Some of you could have a combination of these things I'm talking about. Some of you can have only one. Some people it's not psychological, but it is almost, I want to say, being spoiled because you want your cake and you want to eat it too. Maybe some of you, like my wife, you grew up under a good father. You want the best of both worlds. You want your space, but then you want to be in a relationship. You want to be cuddled or spooned, but then you don't want to sit up and watch a movie or play video games. Hint to my wife. She still has yet to play 2K with me. What I'm saying, and I'm just joking on this, but I'm serious. Some of you cannot have your cake and eat it too. You want commitment, but you got to balance your commitment and your independence. So in other words, let me give you an example of both sides. Women, you love it. When Webby and Boosie came out with that song, INDEPENT, you know what that means. You want to be independent. So you want to be able to do what you want, but you want a strong man to lead you. You are not going to get a strong man and do what the hell you want to do. It don't work like that. And a strong man don't want to control you, ladies. But if somebody care about you, I just want to know where your whereabouts. He keep asking me where I'm at. Maybe he's asking you where you're at because he just want to know if you're safe. And if something happens, he knows where to reach you. Y'all tripping. You can't have your cake. So, girl, I want my time, me time. When you want to get in a romantic relationship, not saying that you can't get any me time, but you with somebody, a whole nother person that you live in the same house with. It just don't work like that. So you want a strong man, but you're not willing to submit. Thank you, Fantasia. Some of you don't like the Fantasia and her husband, what they put a couple weeks ago, but that is real. Submit. Me in the same way. I got a lot of friends still that feel as if they can run and rip all day. They woman at work, and most of them work, because I don't really have a lot of friends that I won't be friends with you if you stay at home and play video games and have a woman go to work and pick up her kid. I don't know. I'm just not friends with a lot of no good Negroes. I'm just not. And when I mean no good Negroes, I'm talking about people or men that use women, whether you white, black, Mexican, Chinese, whatever it is. I'm probably not your friend if you do that, because I'm gonna tell you about yourself, and either you're gonna change or I'm not gonna be friends with you, because I don't believe in that. But men, those that love their wives and are at home a lot, you just can't expect to go out every weekend while your woman is at home with the kids and be in a relationship. Nah, and then when you want to come home, baby, can we do it? Do what? My wife almost got the Holy Ghost on that. Now, do what? You just been gone for 5 hours. You expect to come here at 3 in the morning, wake me up to do something, and you've been out. I've been asking you to come spend time with me all day. It just don't work like that, men. Last but not least, we're going to move into solution and we'll be done. Being romantically bipolar for some people is not psychological or in the mind in the aspect that I've referred to earlier, nor is it you wanting your cake and to eat it too. But this is the most serious one. The third, last but not least, some people are romantically bipolar because you really do have clinically mental issues. Hear me out. Some of you have mood fluctuations and irritability. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm tongue twisted today. Thank you, my wife, for correcting me. So let me start by giving this disclaimer. If this is your reasoning for being romantically bipolar, you have to seek professional help. And I talk about this because I think this is something that the church misses and the black community misses. Mental illnesses are real. Mental issues are real. Depression can be clinical. Some people are really bipolar. Some people are schizophrenic. These are mental issues. These are not demons that we have to cast out or people we have to send to the mental institution. Some people just really need medicine, the chemical imbalance in their brain. This is both male and female, and I think the reason that the divorce rate is so high is because of romantically bipolarness. But check this. I also think the second reason, in the black community at least, is because we do not know how to deal with mental issues. So many people, because of lack of understanding, get a divorce when they don't understand that. No, my baby mama, we call her crazy, but y'all, she really crazy. My baby daddy, he crazy. He shoot guns in there. I don't mess with him. Well, he probably shoot guns in there not because he's a gangster, but because he literally has a mental issue. And he's already angry because maybe the system, not going to get into that. That's a whole other conversation. But what I'm saying is mental issues are real. Mental illnesses are real. And some people are romantically bipolar because of that. Mania, personality disorders, depression. The littlest things upset you. Now, don't get me wrong. I joke with my wife and call her crazy all the time, but no. What I mean is, my wife, most of the time, if she's irritated with me, if she blows up, which she does on an occasionally, more time, really a lot frequently. But it's always for a reason, and a very understandable reason. Even if something I know I should have did and I didn't do, it's for a reason. But if you just blowing up for no reason because the sky is blue, you got some issues. You crying, what's wrong? I don't know. I just went outside today and I see the bird on the tree and I just started crying because the mother was feeding the worms to the. I'm like, you got some issues. That's more than a menstrual cycle. That's some mental issues, and it's okay. It's funny. I want to make you laugh, but seriously, some of y'all need to go get checked out. And I guarantee you, your romantic life, if you seek healing in those areas and deliverance and get some help, it'll help you to understand yourself more, for you can have somebody to understand you. All right. So So these are all, I've talked about romantically bipolar enough. Now let's talk about solutions and we'll be done. Once again, share this if you're watching this. If you have any questions or comments, please, hearts, likes, please put them on the thing before we end so I can try to answer them for you. I'm not a relationship guru, but I've lived life long enough and I have wisdom from the Holy Ghost that I think will help some people. I think it'll help you if you listen. 5 combatants of being romantically bipolar. Let me give you these 5 and I'm out. Number 1, set boundaries early. Have conversations during calm periods in your relationship with your partner, okay? Have these conversations, communicate, and discuss your non-negotiables and spell out the consequences. Make a long story short, set boundaries. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what this person did. This is what I will not allow. Once again, have standards that are realistic. I got to know the password to your phone and I got to have it at night sleeping under my pillow. That's a little bit unreal. But, you know, I like my man. I like my woman to be open with me. So I'm not asking to read your text messages every day. But if somebody does reach out to you from the past, a previous lover or something, just let me know. Don't just go conversating with them and then I find on your Facebook Messenger one day while you're at work with your phone that the same message is coming to your phone is coming to your iPad. I open it. Sounds familiar. But being real, set boundaries. What I will not allow, what I won't. And that doesn't mean if you won't allow it and they do it that you break up with them. But there's consequences. There's levels of trust that we have to build to go to certain places in our relationship. So now that's number 1. Number 2, know your limits. Know when you are emotionally and mentally exhausted. Know what you can and cannot do and what will set you off and what will irritate you. Know that. You got to know that, set limits. Know your limits. Like, look, I'm going to be honest. I can't do fake. I just can't be around this person or these people knowing the way they feel about me and you. Or, look, I'm going to be honest. If I'm in a room full of a lot of people, I feel like I'm claustrophobic. I'm going to snap. I'm going to go off on somebody if they say the wrong thing. Know your limits. There's nothing wrong with knowing your limits. A person that's strong, a person that knows what he can or cannot do is a wise person. So know your limits. It's not that you're mean. It's not that you're evil. It's not that you don't like dealing with people. You just know how you are. And you're being wise to avoid things that are going to set you off. Number 3, unpressured connection. Find activities you and your partner can do positively and together. Activities that put no pressure on you romantically. Somewhere you can just have fun and get to know each other. So some of y'all just like to get together with your partner and be romantic. You just like to kiss and feel on one another, whatever you want to do. These are fine moments, but ain't every moment about kissing. Every moment ain't about trying to make love. Have some fun together. Go golfing, go bowling. Go sit out at the lake and watch the waves, the currents. I mean, do something that's positive, that is just relaxing. That's not always sexual. Okay? That's another way to help you. Unpressured connection. Let me connect with you. And not just romantically, but even your other relationships, your friendships. Sometimes tell your friends, girl, I'm tired of hearing your problems with that no good Negro. Just leave them. When we meet together, I just want to talk about us. Where we're going in life, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. I ain't got time to talk about what Ray Ray and them did to you. I just don't have time. Not said I don't want to hear you, but some days, girl, I don't want to talk about it. Bro, some days I just don't want to hear about you and your crazy baby mamas. I told you not to get them pregnant in the first place. If you would have did it God's way and would have got married to the girl you met in high school that was down for you, but you wanted to sleep with the ones that was wild, that's on you, bro. When we together, let's kill, let's play this game, let's shoot pool, and let's hang out. I don't want to hear all that. And don't tell her to bring it over here. Because last time she came over here and she tried to bust my windows out of my car, and she should have busted yours out. And she do it again, she's going to pay for it. Number 4 is seeking support. Oh, my wife is handling something at the door. I'm sorry. Number 4 is seek support. Seek support. And what seeking support is, not talking about, not about psychological issues, but arrange with your family and friends support. Simply, I'm not talking about mental health or health. We all need breaks. So seek support. Mama, can you just watch these kids for a couple of days or for a few hours? Have your family members understand where you're at. Have them understand where you're at romantically in your life and the pressures that you're dealing with. And if they love you and care about you, they'll try to support you whatever way they can. Seek that out. Talk with family members and friends to help you so that you can get that support that you need to become whole. Last but not least, y'all know it. I'm a pastor. I'm a preacher. I love God more than I love anything else. Number 5 is prayer. All these things don't work unless you pray. You got to make prayer regular in your life. If you're a believer, there are some things that only God can change. If you have these issues in your mind, mental, if you have these issues in your psyche, if you have these issues and want your cake and eat it too, you have this entitlement. And it's been bred into you for years because some of you, this is all you've known. Some things only God can change in you. And the more you get to know God and communicate with him, and the more you know about him and you are in his word, the more he begins to change your nature. The more he begins to change your character and who you are. That is something that only God can do, is change your character. You and God. Nobody else can do that. You can't do that for somebody else. It has to be for yourself and it has to be unto God. And there's only some things that he can rearrange in your life. So pray. God, I'm tired of being alone. God, I'm tired of romance failing in my life. I'm tired of being messed up in the head. God, I'm tired of this clinical condition. God can help. Pull it back up for me. I'm sorry. Only God can help some things, y'all. Pray. When in doubt, shout it out. Pray. Pray until something happens. Keep praying. Got a question or a comment. I'm sorry. Mental illness is real. You can have a therapist in Jesus too. Very so much so, Zatea. You have to. I was just talking to this with my good friend, Pastor Michael Johnson out of Kansas City the other day. This is very true. Very, very true. I agree. People don't know how to deal with it, especially in the black community. It's mostly past looked because people have the stigma of this or that, how you should be, and it's all in your head. It's real. So I'll tell you, yes, it is a very real thing. Mental illness. And it's something that I'm actually in the process of working because I want to do one of these Sunday night teachings on mental health. I believe it's something that we should be talking about heavily in the church and in the black community. And for my world, those two are very much connected. Being black and loving Jesus. And most of us in the black community have been taught to love Jesus at the expense of our own health. Loving Jesus means that you love your health as well because Jesus wants you to be whole, not just spiritually, but mentally, emotionally, physically as well.
That's a wise counsel. Wise counsel is part of that.
Yes, wise counsel. So I want to deal with it. I think our generation has lacked that because we were taught to worship and to have church. But what happens when the church doors are closed and we go home to our apartment doors and our houses, our homes, and we still have these issues that Pastor didn't teach to me. He taught me how to dance and how to shout and how to run around this church and to give God praise for the next 30 seconds. But he did not teach me that when I get home and I'm dealing with this real devil that's coming against my life. Devils are not just spiritual. Don't get me wrong, I do believe in spiritual warfare. Some of the things that we are battling are in the supernatural realm that are coming against us. But oftentimes in none, our biggest battles are against ourselves, and the devil is using that as a weapon against us, our own selves. He's using that against us because the church is causing people to perish because of a lack of knowledge. We have not given our parishioners, our congregants, the knowledge and the wisdom on how to deal with everyday battles. This is the reason why I do these Sunday night teachings. Because it's all right to come to church on Sunday and we shout. But after the shouting's done, what can you teach me to help me apply to my life? God is going to do some great things, and there's some bright things for our future in the ministry for me and my wife. And that's one of the things that me and her have made it very clear when God calls us to plant this next church that we are planting, to deal with people practically, divinely, spiritually, but practically most of all. We're called to reach our generation, millennials, and to do that, we got to teach people more than just shouting, but to teach them how to live. So, that being said, if there's no more questions or concerns, I'm going to end this in prayer as I always do. Once again, follow me on all social media platforms, at least the main ones, Instagram and Twitter at Taz, T-A-Z _ Isom, I-S-O-M, on Facebook at Taz.